All right, so we're going to begin today's notes by continuing rewriting the equations into slope-intercept. So we want our equations to look like this. Right now, these two are in standard form. Okay, um, so let's do it. And it's pretty much the same process each time. I want to remove everything on the left side of the equation except y. So I want just y equals. So the first thing I'm going to get rid of is x. And since I want to get rid of that whole term, x has to be completely gone. I'm going to write the opposite of x, which is what in this case? Negative x. I'm going to write it as negative 1x because this is really 1x. And that way I have the opposite. And on the other side, I write negative 1x. Okay? So now, 1x and negative 1x, I combine them. And they make 0. They're opposites. So that's why we cross it out. Let's bring down what we have left on the left side. I still have 3y on the left plus u. And on the right side, I'm going to bring down my equal sign. I have negative 9 and negative 1x. And we learned something yesterday about this. Can I add these together and make like negative 10x? No. The top one is just a constant. It's just a number. The bottom one is a variable expression. It's got a variable and a number. They don't mix. So just write them separately. I got negative 1x. And yes, you want to write the variable term first and then minus 9 behind it. That way it looks more like a slope-intercept equation once we simplify it. So now let's divide by 3. We want to get rid of the coefficient here. Everything gets divided by whatever number is being multiplied with y. So cancel. Bring down the y. And now I'm going to check. Does 3 divide into 1 evenly? Nope. So write it as a fraction, negative 1/3 x. Does 3 go into 9 evenly? Yeah. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So I have a negative divided by a positive. So it's minus 3. 9 divided by 3. And lo and behold, I have a slope, negative 1/3. And I have a y-intercept, negative 3. If I need to, I can graph it. Okay? Let's try the last one here. Let's do the first step. Everybody, let's try this. Add 4x to both sides. Plus 4x. Okay? And negative 4 and positive 4 cancel. They make 0, so that it's gone. Okay? Bring down negative 2y. Bring down the equal sign. And then what do I write on the right side? I have a 4x and a minus 12. 4x minus 12. Okay? Now, we want to get rid of the negative 2 that's multiplied with y. So let's divide by negative 2. Okay? So let's divide every term by negative 2. So here, they divide out to 1, and that gives us 1y or just y. Here, it's 4 divided by negative 2. That's negative 2. And here I have negative 12 divided by negative 2. Oh, I forgot my x. Don't forget the x. This is negative 12 divided by negative 2. And that's negative divided by negative is a positive, so that's a plus. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. So now that one's ready to graph. Okay. On today's assignment, you'll have a few like this, where you have to rewrite the inequality or the equation like that. Okay? We have a few to do in the back. So if you're done with this, let's flip it over to the back side. So we did these two. One turned out to be negative 4, 5. And since this one's parallel, this was a no solution. Okay? So let's move on to number 5. Do you see number 5, guys? We have one equation in slope-intercept form, ready to graph. What do you notice about our second equation? We got to rewrite that. Let's graph our first one. Just get it out of the way. Since I want to use this room down here for rewriting, I'm going to write the slope and the y-intercept right up here. M equals B equals. Okay, my slope is -2/3. Do you see that? -2/3. So I'm going to write that -2/3. The y-intercept, since it's -5, it's -5. Okay? Let's graph it. Go to the y-axis. I still see a few people, and thank God you're using pencil, but you're going to the x-axis and putting a point there. It's always on the y-axis, right there at -5. Okay? And now we have -2/3 as our slope. So that tells us to go down 2 steps and to the right 3 steps. Someone asked in second period, how do I know if I go to the right or the left? It's always to the right if you can. So I see I can go to the right. I can go down 2 steps. So I'm going to go to the right 3 steps. And that gives me one of the points. I want to make sure I get the points right. So I want to get another point. I can't go this way. This is where you go back to the original and do it in reverse. Instead of down and to the right, I go up and to the left. So I'm going to go up 2, right? And then 1, 2, 3. Look and see if that looks like it's in line. It is. So do one more. We can do one more. Up 2/3. So now chances are one of those 4 points will be the solution. Okay. Okay. So that wasn't too bad. We graphed our line. Now for the second line, we don't know where the slope or the y-intercept is. So we have to rewrite this. So let's start rewriting. -2x. Let's do the opposite. +2x. Okay. And let's see what we have. We have +3y, so +3y equals. On the other side, we have +2x, so that's 2x. And then we have take away 15, so -15. There's our equation now. Let's divide by 3. We want to get y by itself. So dividing 3 will do that. No longer have 3y, it's just y. And then we have 2 divided by 3. Does 3 go into 2 evenly? Nope. So just bring it down. If you have to reduce the fraction, but we don't have to in this case, we got 2/3 x. This 3 go into -15. Yeah, 5 times. So this is -5. Think of it as -15 divided by 3. So now we have our equation, which means we have a slope. It's 2/3. We have a y-intercept. It's -5. Oh, look at that. They both have a y-intercept of -5. You notice that? Here and here. So that means our other line is going to start there, which means that's our solution, basically. But we still have to finish the line. So go up 2, across 3. Okay. I'll just do another point this way. Okay. So there's 4 points for this line. Our line is going to do this. And now we know the solution is here. And where is here? 0, -5. Yeah, to get to that point from the origin, You don't move right or left, so that's 0. But you do have to go down 5, so that's negative 5. And we'll write that here. Okay? All right. I'd like you to try number 6 on your own. They're both already in slope-intercept. Okay? So try it on your own. All right? So I'll give you a little bit of time for that. Okay, so hopefully you got most of this done. And so my first equation had a slope of 1 over 3 and a y-intercept of negative 2. So I put my point at negative 2 on the y-axis. Then you just go up 1 over 3. And then I went down 1 to the left 3. And there's my first line. For my second line, remember, this is negative 1, which as a slope is negative 1 over positive 1. And then the y-intercept is 2, so you put a point at 2. And then you go down 1 step to the right 1. And obviously it's going to touch here. And that here is 3, negative 1. Okay? So that's the solution to this system. 3, negative 1. Okay? Hopefully you got that. If you did, you're in good shape. We're going to do the last 2 parts. Okay? So for this number 7, we're going to review real quickly what it means to have no solution. It says Constance graphed a system of equations with no solution. So it had no solution. If the first equation was y equals 6x minus 2, circle the letter of the equation that could be the second equation of the system. Okay? So it's A, B, and C. What do you notice about all 3 of those equations? They're in standard form. So we don't know the slope, we don't know the y-intercept. And in order to figure out if it's a no solution, we got to know that. Remember? Let's go back to the flip side real quick and look at this. In order to have a no solution, we need parallel lines. In order to have parallel lines, you have to have both equations have to have the same slope and different y-intercepts. So we want 2 lines with the same slope. What's the slope of this equation? 6. So we need to figure out which of these 3 equations has a slope of 6. Also, they have to have different y-intercepts. So we could have pretty much any number for the b value, for the y-intercept, except which one? Negative 2. You can't. If we get something like that's identical to this 6x minus 2, that's not parallel. It'll be overlapping. So we need to rewrite and get an equation that has 6x and then plus or minus something that's not minus 2. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's just start with A. We're going to rewrite this and see what we get. So let's add 24x on both sides. And that gives us 4y equals 24x plus 8. Okay? Well, let's divide by 4. I don't have enough room here to write the rest of it. I'm going to write the equation above here. So since I divided by 4, this is no longer 4y, it's just y. How about 24 over 4? What is that? 6. So this is looking good, 6x. As long as we don't get a minus 2 here, this might be our answer. What's 8 divided by 4? Plus 2. Is that okay to have plus 2? As long as it's not minus 2, yes. So we got it on our first try. Y equals 6x plus 2. the slope is the same, the y-intercept is different. These two lines are parallel. Okay, and we're done. Okay, we don't even need to do the rest of these. Okay, moving on to the last part. It's an application situation. So it says Jude's water balloon is empty, but filling up at a rate of 5 milliliters per second. Ian's water balloon contains 45 milliliters of water and is losing 10 milliliters of water per second. Okay, so that's the situation. We have write an equation to represent y, the amount of water in each balloon, based on x, the number of seconds. And that matches up this graph. X is the seconds, the time that's been passing by in seconds, and y is the water in milliliters in the balloons. So now we're going to write some equations. Luckily, we have this information. Let's start with Jude. Jude's water balloon is empty. So y is the amount of water in the balloon. And what does that mean that it's empty? What are we starting with? 0. But we're filling it up. At what rate? How fast is it filling up? So that's going to be plus 5 milliliters per second, and seconds is x. So there's our equation. Okay? And if you notice, it's not quite the way we were used to, right? That's okay. We could just rewrite this as y equals, flip these around, 5x plus 0, or you don't even need the plus 0. But that's slope-intercept. Okay? Let's look at the second equation for Ian. Ian's water balloon contains, Leah, focus. Ian's water balloon contains 45 milliliters. It contains 45 milliliters and is losing water at 10 milliliters per second. So how much are we starting with here? And we're losing. So it's not going to be plus, it's going to be minus 10x. And again, we could flip these around, put it more into slope-intercept. Y equals negative 10x plus 45. Okay. So now we can graph these. Let's start with Jude. Jude is starting at what? So right at 0. And then we're going to go up 5 over 1. So go up 5 over 1. Like that. And then just continue increasing. Okay, so this is obviously going to go diagonally here. Each time getting 5 more milliliters than it had before. Okay, let's go ahead and make this graph. So that's Jude. Now let's make Ian's graph. Where are we starting with Ian? 45. And then he's going to lose 10 milliliters. So you go down 10 milliliters. So at 45, it goes down to 35. And then move over 1 because it's 1 second past. And then do that over and over again. Oh, there's. So let's graph this one. Okay. So obviously we have a solution at 3 seconds and 45 milliliters or 15 milliliters. So what happens at 3 seconds and 15 milliliters? They have the same amount of water. The water that's increasing on Jude's balloon is the same as the amount of water that's decreasing on Ian's balloon. And that's what you want to answer here. What is the solution to the system of equations, and what does it mean? What does it mean in this context? Yeah. So I'm going to write it this way. At 3 seconds, both balloons have 15 milliliters of water. That's what it means. Okay. All right. So nothing like this is going to be on the assignment today, but it's good to know the context. But it will be coming up. So at this point, the assignment is on delta. If you're done, hold on. If you're done with, if you're not working,